Let's lock in. Alex Krasuk picks Joseph Parker to beat Daniel Dubois. See, he slipped it in kind of casually, but upon listening to the interview again, I was like, oh, snap. Team Usyk doesn't think that Daniel Dubois is even going to beat Joseph Parker. Let's listen to what Alex Krasuk said.
Now, does this set up a rematch with Dubois?
Do you think Dubois wins Parker? My bet is with Parker.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you think we'll see Usyk versus Parker?
We don't know what we're gonna see.
What about a move down to cruiserweight?
So you heard it right there. Alex says, do you think that Dubois beats Parker? I don't think he beats Parker. Then they asked if he thought that Usyk would be fighting Joseph Parker in the future, and he said he doesn't know. Now, Usyk has accomplished everything. Usyk really has to sit down with his family and decide whether or not he wants to continue boxing at this point. And I think that's where he's at this stage in his career. And if he wants to continue boxing, how many more fights does he want to have? I always state personally, I believe fighters should look at their finances. They should look at their lifestyle, and they should really sit down with an accountant and figure out how much money they need saved when they retire to continue to live their lifestyle and continue to live comfortably. And personally, I think that is what should determine whether or not Usyk continues to fight or retire. But let's talk about this. Joseph Parker is who Team Usyk thinks is going to win between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker. And I've been stating this for the longest time. Daniel Dubois jumped in that ring. He's overlooking Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker is very dangerous. Daniel Dubois is 27 years old. Joseph Parker is 32 years old. Joseph Parker isn't that old for a heavyweight. He's extremely experienced. He's been in there with Joshua. He's been in there with Dillian White. We're talking about Anthony Joshua and Dillian White when they were at the prime stages of their career, right? He's been in there with Joe Joyce at the prime stage of Joe Joyce's career, right? And he's also been in there with Deontay Wilder. He's been in there with Jang, and those are his two best wins. And he's riding on a high, just like Daniel Dubois is riding on a high. Daniel Dubois beat Gerald Baby Miller. He beat Philip Herkovich, and he sparked out Anthony Joshua. But make no mistake about it, the Anthony Joshua that Daniel Dubois faced is nothing like the Anthony Joshua that Joseph Parker faced. Joseph Parker faced an Anthony Joshua who didn't know how to lose, an Anthony Joshua who felt like he was indestructible, and an Anthony Joshua who wasn't gun shy. And you can tell from the opening bell when Daniel Dubois fought Anthony Joshua, he was on the back foot, and he didn't seem willing to mix it up when he probably should have, because most people felt like whoever landed the bomb first was going to win that fight. And Anthony Joshua allowed Daniel Dubois to land the bomb first. Joseph Parker, on the other hand, is highly skilled, good stamina. And in fact, Joseph Parker's been coming in the ring in better shape than he's been in his previous fights. You can tell in his physique. You can tell by the way he's training. He is focused on his conditioning more so he doesn't fade. And that is what allowed him to survive the two knockdowns that he suffered at the hands of Jang. And then he continued to finish the fight strong and to get the decision. What Alexander Usyk has proven in the heavyweight division is, although it is the land of the giants, the Anthony Joshuas, the Tyson Furies, and the Daniel Dubois, they are extremely flawed, and they don't use their power and their size the way that the heavyweights of old used to do. They are not as skilled and as crafty at landing their power shots, and they're not willing to take the risk that the fighters of old used to take. Now, you look at the heavyweights back in the day, Lennox, George Foreman, you look at these guys, they knew when they stepped in the ring, they were going to have to walk through some heavy punches in order to win. And they were willing to stand up to it. I watched Lewis Holyfield, the first fight, again, like a few weeks ago. Those dudes were walking through bombs, and they knew they were going to have to do it. These days, they rather feel each other out, range find, and they don't mix it up the way that the fighters used to back in the days, and that plays into a smaller heavyweight's hand. Now, Usyk's shown that these big heavyweights are limited, but Usyk particularly showed that Daniel Dubois has a lot of flaws in his game. Now, Anthony Joshua is a different type of heavyweight because Anthony Joshua is 6'6". He's tall. But Joseph Parker, you're going to get a shorter heavyweight in the 6'4" range who's about and around the same height as Usyk, who has good hand speed like Usyk, who has good foot movement like Usyk. He's going to present the type of challenge that Daniel Dubois showed that he struggled with, not just with Usyk, but even when you think about Lorena and what Lorena moving up from cruiserweight, his hand speed, his footwork, and the trouble that it gave Daniel Dubois, I do think that Team Usyk is on to something. And Joseph Parker has the skill set that may create a lot of trouble for Daniel Dubois. And it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm still thinking about this because, as you can see, like what everyone's saying, I like what Joseph Parker is right now. I feel like Joseph Parker lacked the killer instinct at points in his career. I remember when he fought, what's his name? The tall guy who got sparked out by Lucas Brown in like 2 seconds. Junior Farr, I believe his name is. Like, I felt like he didn't turn up on Junior Farr the way I wanted him to turn up on Junior Farr. I feel like he didn't turn up on Derek Chisora the way I wanted him to turn up on Derek Chisora, which I'm not mad at him because everyone loves Derek Chisora. Usyk loves Derek. Anthony Joshua loves Derek. Joseph Parker loves Derek Chisora. Is like, I love Derek. I root for Del Boy. So, I mean, I could understand not turning up on him, but still, he had opportunities, it looked like, to take out Del Boy, and Joseph Parker didn't pull the trigger. But that's changing. Like, you can see when he fought Deontay Wilder, I feel like it was Joseph Parker's speed. It was Joseph Parker's power. And Deontay Wilder knew, like, oh, if I open up and I get caught with one of these, I am done. And Jang is a powerful fighter, and Jang is dangerous, but Joseph Parker was able to get respect from a devastating puncher like Jang. And I just feel like, and Joseph Parker, don't forget, he dropped Dillian White in the 12th round of their fight. And if he would have got aggressive, like I said, again, the killer instinct earlier, he probably would have, he probably could have taken Dillian White out. We'll never know because he dropped him toward the end of the 12th round and Dillian White got saved by the bell. And in the fight with Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker didn't seem aggressive enough. And a lot of people say, like, oh, the ref didn't let him work in the clinches. But it's like, Joseph Parker really didn't try to force it anyway. Like, just because the ref is saying no, it doesn't mean you don't force it. Del Boy will force it regardless of what the ref is saying. I feel like Joseph Parker has finally, everything is finally aligned with Joseph Parker. His skill set, his conditioning, his killer instinct, his mindset. And let's not forget, he is former heavyweight champion of the world, and he's looking to become 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. So he has this hunger inside of him that Anthony Joshua wasn't really fighting with when he stepped in the ring with Daniel Dubois. So I do think this is a tremendous threat. And Team Usyk has been very good at calling fights and picking winners. So when you hear Alex Krasuk say that he thinks that Joseph Parker is going to beat Daniel Dubois, and I think about the styles, I really think that is a strong possibility. And I think what it's showing is these heavyweights may be big, and by these heavyweights, I mean like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois, but the smaller, the shorter, they're not much shorter, right? 6'3", 6'4", but they're still a few inches shorter. But but those inches give them better mobility, better footwork, and they typically have the shorter arms and faster hands, and that creates a world of trouble for these bigger fighters, and we're seeing that. And I do think that that may be something that Daniel Dubois is going to struggle with if history repeats itself because of his performance against Usyk and Lorena. The real question is, does a smaller heavyweight with the skill set of Joseph Parker have a better chance against Usyk than, say, the monsters of the division, like Anthony Joshua, like Tyson Fury, and Daniel Dubois? Because remember, Usyk's toughest fight was against Del Boy. Well, I won't say it's toughest, but one of his toughest fights was against Del Boy. And Del Boy isn't one of those tall, giant monsters. He's just a ferocious, shorter fighter, and he was able to give him a hard time. That's something I would like to see if Joseph Parker can get by Daniel Dubois, is a shorter fighter with similar skill sets to Usyk, someone who can give him more problems than, say, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, or Daniel Dubois. But either way, Team Usyk believes that Joseph Parker will defeat Daniel Dubois. And that may explain why Usyk was so nonchalant in the ring when Daniel Dubois was talking. Usyk was probably thinking, I'm not looking at this dude. I'm looking past him. You know, like Jay-Z said, I'm not looking at you dudes. I'm looking past you. That's probably what Usyk was thinking in his mind. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that Joseph Parker is going to pull off the upset and become two-time heavyweight champion of the world? That's where I'm leaning. I don't know if I'm going to go to that full lean yet, but I'm leaning that way. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. It's Caden. I'm out. Peace.